An emotional moment marked the closing of BTS's concert at M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore, on the second day. Amidst the roaring cheers of tens of thousands of armies, BTS's Jimin suddenly went silent when it was time to deliver his closing remarks. The smile that had previously adorned his face slowly turned into a touched expression, until his eyes appeared teary. The stadium's atmosphere, which had been packed with concert energy, instantly felt different. The music began to fade, and the members prepared to deliver their ending ment. As the microphone reached Jimin's hands, he appeared to take a deep breath, as if trying to control his emotions. However, that struggle did not last long. His voice trembled, and Jimin stopped several times. He bowed his head, then looked back at the sea of armies filling the stadium. That simple moment made the atmosphere even more emotional. Jimin then expressed his gratitude to the armies who had attended the two-day show in Baltimore. In a message summarized from the moment, he revealed how deeply moved he was to see fans stay and show support despite facing challenging weather conditions. "Seeing you all stay with us until the end touches me deeply," Jimin conveyed during that emotional moment. He also shared that army support is one of the main reasons he and the other members continuously strive to give their best performance. Exhaustion after completing the series of performances seemed to heighten his emotions. Throughout the concert, Jimin performed with high energy and gave his all on stage. But as everything came near the end, the feelings he had been holding back seemed to spill over. Jimin's tears eventually became clear to see. He smiled shyly while trying to wipe his face, but that reaction made ARMY even more touched. From various corners of the stadium, shouts of encouragement rang out, as if reassuring Jimin that he was not alone. Amid the moment, Jungkook also drew attention. Seeing Jimin struggle to hold back his tears, Jungkook walked over and wrapped him in a warm hug. That brief gesture was immediately met with loud cheers from the entire stadium. Jungkook did not need to say much. His presence by Jimin's side spoke volumes about the support of a bandmate who understood the weight of a farewell after 2 unforgettable nights in Baltimore. Jimin then tried to speak again. Although his voice remained shaky, he persisted in completing his message for ARMY. Occasionally smiling through his tears, he made the stadium's atmosphere difficult to put into words. For ARMY, the moment felt special not simply because Jimin cried, but because he had maintained a cheerful and professional demeanor throughout the concert despite physical fatigue after a long show. The tears that surfaced at the end of the concert reflected just how deeply the fans' support meant to him. When his closing message finally ended, the entire stadium erupted once more. ARMY chanted Jimin's and BTS's names while holding up their ARMY bombs. Light from thousands of light sticks illuminated the stadium, creating a sea of light. Jimin smiled again upon seeing the view, though tears still lingered in his eyes. Jungkook and the other members stayed close to him before eventually preparing to leave the stage. The farewell on Baltimore Day 2 became one of the most emotional moments of the night. Not just because the concert had ended, but because Jimin showed a vulnerable side of himself after pouring all his energy into performing for ARMY for 2 days. On social media, fans widely shared clips of the moment. Many admitted to crying alongside Jimin as he tried to finish his ending ment through overwhelming emotions. In the end, that night was more than just the conclusion of a concert. Baltimore left behind an unforgettable scene. Jimin standing with teary eyes, ARMY blanketing the stadium in purple light, and Jungkook standing by his side when the emotions became too much to hold. As the stage lights dimmed, one question remained in the minds of many armies. Were Jimin's tears that night solely due to the Baltimore farewell, or were there many accumulated emotions and fatigue that finally broke through in those final seconds? The moment developed into one of the most emotional parts of the closing of Baltimore Day 2. After bowing his head for a few moments, Jimin raised his face again and tried to give ARMY a smile. However, his expression revealed just how difficult it was to hide his feelings. Jimin took a deep breath before holding the microphone with both hands again. He seemed to be trying to regain his composure to finish his closing message for the fans. A small smile appeared occasionally, but his eyes were still noticeably wet. As ARMY's voices grew louder, Jimin looked back toward the stands. The sight of thousands of fans staying until the very end seemed to move him emotionally once again. He tried to speak once more. However, before finishing his sentence, Jimin paused. He smiled while bowing his head, seemingly realizing how hard it was to maintain a calm expression. The reaction made ARMY get caught up in the emotion as well. The vibrant cheers softened into gentler shouts of encouragement. Some fans raised their ARMY bombs even higher, as if trying to send him strength from afar. The moment felt all the more touching because Jimin did not immediately leave the stage. He stood there, trying to complete his ending ment despite his visible emotions. A few seconds later, Jimin smiled again, this time wider, though tears still lingered in his eyes. He nodded toward ARMY, as if signaling that he was all right. Yet, it was precisely his effort to stay strong that made the moment even more moving. On the other side of the stage, Jungkook observed the situation. As Jimin bowed his head again, Jungkook stood nearby to offer support with a simple gesture. His presence brought a smile back to Jimin's face, even if his emotions had not fully subsided. That brief interaction drew an immediate, massive response from ARMY. Cheers rang out from all corners of the stadium, but this time the atmosphere felt far more emotional than before. Jimin turned back to face the audience, seemingly wanting to hold on to the view for as long as possible. Tens of thousands of ARMY bomb lights filled the stadium, creating a grand view as the concert reached its final seconds. It was no surprise that many fans described the moment as one of the most touching parts of the night. Not simply because Jimin cried, but because it was clear how hard he tried, repeatedly, to smile and finish his message. The tears felt like the culmination of emotions built up over the two-day event. After giving his energy on stage, interacting with ARMY, and going through a long set list, Jimin's emotional side finally surfaced as the concert neared its end. What made the atmosphere even stronger was ARMY's response. There was no intention to make Jimin feel sadder. Instead, supportive cheers grew louder, as if the entire stadium wanted him to know that all his hard work over the 2 days was appreciated. Jimin finally smiled again. This time, he no longer tried to hide his teary eyes. He simply stood before ARMY, taking in the final seconds of their time together. As the closing music played, Jimin and the other members prepared to leave the stage. Before walking away completely, he looked up at the stands one last time. However, Jimin was not the only one struggling to hold back emotions. From the stands, ARMY's voices grew even louder. As Jimin tried to wrap up his closing message, the fans responded in a way that felt like an answer to his gratitude. Shouts of encouragement resonated throughout M&T Bank Stadium. Jimin's name was continuously chanted, followed by cheers for BTS. The stadium, previously filled with high energy, transformed into a calmer, deeply touching moment of togetherness. Jimin appeared quiet as he listened to the response. He raised his face and looked toward the stands. A small smile reappeared, though his eyes were still teary. As if unwilling to let Jimin face the emotional moment alone, ARMY united even more to show their support. Thousands of ARMY bombs were raised almost simultaneously, turning the entire stadium into a sea of light. The sight seemed to move Jimin once again. He stood still for a few moments, simply gazing at the fans filling stadium. For ARMY, raising their ARMY bombs that night was more than just part of the concert routine. The light served as a simple way of saying that all of Jimin's hard work during the 2 days in Baltimore had been seen and valued. Jimin then smiled wider. He nodded several times while looking at the stands. That simple response was met with even louder cheers. There was no lengthy conversation between Jimin and ARMY at that moment. Yet it felt like a silent dialogue. Jimin conveyed his emotions through his closing message and tears, while ARMY responded with light, sound, and support. Some fans were even seen crying. Cameras highlighting various sections of the stand showed ARMYs hugging each other while holding up their light sticks. The moment made the boundary between the stage and the stands seem to disappear. For a few moments, it was no longer about an artist performing in front of thousands, but about two sides trying to cherish the final moments of a shared experience. Jimin tried to speak again. Though still emotional, he attempted to deliver his final message with a smile. His voice occasionally softened, but the entire stadium's attention remained fixed on him. Amidst the atmosphere, The other BTS members remained close to Jimin. Their presence made the farewell feel even warmer. Jungkook drew attention once again, as he was seen supporting Jimin through the emotional moment. The gesture was brief, but enough to make ARMY cheer once more. Jimin looked at Jungkook before turning back to the stands. A small smile returned to his face. For the first time in a while, his expression appeared a little calmer.